New bank fees are quietly draining SSI and SSDI checks for millions of Americans living on SSI, SSDI, or Social Security. Every dollar matters. Monthly budgets are already tight. Groceries, utilities, medication, and rent leave little room for error. But right now, a new threat is quietly taking money straight out of these checks: bank fees. Across the country, banks are rolling out new account changes that disproportionately affect people who rely on government benefits. These changes are not announced loudly. There are no warning phone calls. In many cases, the fees appear only after money is already gone. Some banks are eliminating free checking accounts. Others are adding new monthly maintenance fees, sometimes as high as $10, $20, or even $35 per month. For someone living on fixed income, that's not a small inconvenience. That's groceries, prescriptions, or utility money disappearing. The most dangerous part is how quietly this happens. Many SSI and SSDI recipients have used the same bank account for years. They trust it. They set up direct deposit and stop paying close attention. Banks are counting on that silence. These fees are often triggered by rules that beneficiaries simply cannot meet: minimum balance requirements, electronic statement mandates, or transaction limits. Miss one condition, and the fee hits automatically. This video series will break down how these new fees work, why SSI and SSDI recipients are being targeted, and, most importantly, how to stop banks from draining your benefits. Because this is not about convenience. This is about protecting income that is already barely enough to survive. The new $35 bank fees rolling out nationwide. The fees hitting SSI and SSDI recipients right now are not accidents. They are part of a nationwide shift in how banks make money, and people on fixed incomes are caught in the middle. Across the country, banks are quietly replacing free checking accounts with fee-based accounts. What used to be free now comes with monthly charges ranging from $5 to $35. These fees apply automatically, often without a clear warning. The most common fee is the monthly maintenance fee. To avoid it, banks now require customers to maintain a minimum balance, sometimes $500, $1,000, or even several $1,000s. For SSI and SSDI recipients, keeping that kind of balance is nearly impossible. Another growing fee is the paper statement fee. Banks now charge $3 to $5 per month just to mail a statement. Many seniors don't realize this fee exists until it shows up on their account. Some banks also impose direct deposit requirements tied to earnings levels. If the deposit doesn't meet a certain dollar amount, the fee applies, even if the deposit is from Social Security or disability benefits. These fees don't require consent. They activate automatically when account terms change. And once they start, they repeat every month. That's what makes them so dangerous. A $15 fee may not sound like much until it hits 12 times a year. A $35 fee can quietly drain hundreds of dollars annually from someone who cannot afford to lose even 10. Understanding these fees is the first step to stopping them. Why SSI and SSDI recipients are hit the hardest by these bank fees. When banks introduce new fees, they often claim the impact is small or manageable. But for people living on SSI and SSDI, these fees hit much harder than banks are willing to admit. The reason is simple: fixed income leaves no flexibility. SSI recipients typically live on less than $1,000 a month. SSDI recipients may receive slightly more, but still far below what banks consider a healthy balance. When a bank requires a minimum balance of $500, $1,000, or more to avoid fees, that requirement alone disqualifies millions of beneficiaries. Unlike wage earners, SSI and SSDI recipients cannot make it up next month. There is no overtime, no bonus, no extra shift. Once a fee is taken, that money is gone for good. Another problem is timing. Government benefits are usually deposited once per month. That means account balances naturally drop toward the end of the month as bills are paid. Banks know this, and many fees are triggered precisely when balances dip below required thresholds, even temporarily. Seniors and disabled Americans are also more likely to rely on paper statements, in-person banking, or long-standing accounts they've had for decades. Banks increasingly penalize these behaviors with new fees, pushing customers toward digital systems they may not be comfortable using. This isn't about irresponsible spending. It's about a system designed around people with steady paychecks, not people surviving on benefits. For SSI and SSDI recipients, bank fees aren't an inconvenience. They are a direct cut to survival income. The hidden triggers that automatically activate bank fees. What makes these new bank fees especially dangerous isn't just the dollar amount, it's how easily they are triggered. Most SSI and SSDI recipients don't actively choose a fee-based account. The fees turn on automatically when certain conditions aren't met, conditions that are often buried deep in account disclosures. One of the most common triggers is the minimum balance requirement. Many banks now require customers to keep hundreds or even thousands of dollars in their account at all times. If the balance drops below that amount, even for a single day, the monthly fee is charged. Another hidden trigger involves direct deposit thresholds. Some banks waive fees only if a minimum amount is deposited each month. If your Social Security, SSI, or SSDI deposit falls below that amount, the fee applies automatically, even though the deposit is guaranteed and legitimate. Paper statements are another trap. Banks increasingly charge a monthly fee simply for mailing statements. Seniors who have received paper statements for decades may not realize that continuing this option now costs money. There are also account reclassifications. Banks may quietly convert older free checking accounts into new fee-based versions. Customers are notified through fine print emails or small inserts, notices many people never see. None of these triggers require your approval. The system is automated. Once the conditions aren't met, the fee hits, month after month. This is why so many beneficiaries are shocked when they finally notice money missing. The fees weren't sudden, they were waiting. How small bank fees quietly add up to hundreds of dollars a year. One of the most deceptive things about bank fees is how small they look at first. A $5 fee here, a $10 fee there, even a $35 fee once a month. On their own, they don't feel catastrophic, but over time, they quietly drain a shocking amount of money, especially from people living on SSI or SSDI. Let's do the math. A $10 monthly maintenance fee costs $120 a year. A $20 fee adds up to $240 a year. A $35 fee totals $420 a year. Gone, without warning, without consent. For someone living on a fixed income, that money isn't extra. It's food, it's medication, it's electricity, it's transportation to medical appointments, and that's just one fee. Many accounts are hit with multiple charges at the same time. Monthly maintenance fees, paper statement fees, minimum balance penalties. When combined, these charges can quietly siphon off hundreds of dollars every single year. The most frustrating part is that many recipients don't notice right away. Fees are often deducted automatically, buried among other transactions. By the time someone realizes what's happening, months, sometimes years, have passed. Banks rely on that delay. They know that people on SSI and SSDI are less likely to check statements daily. They know fixed income customers are busy just trying to get by. That's why recognizing how fast these fees add up is critical, because once you see the full picture, it becomes clear this isn't pocket change, it's a serious financial hit. Why banks are targeting low balance and benefit accounts. Many SSI and SSDI recipients ask the same question. Why would banks target people who barely have money? The answer is uncomfortable, but clear. Banks are under pressure to increase profits as interest rates shift and traditional revenue slows. When higher balance customers move money elsewhere, banks look for revenue that's predictable and automatic. Low balance accounts provide exactly that. For people receiving SSI, SSDI, or Social Security, deposits arrive on schedule every month. That consistency makes these accounts attractive targets for recurring fees. Once a fee is attached, it's collected quietly, without needing customer approval each time. There's also a behavioral factor. Many benefit recipients stay with the same bank for decades. They don't shop around. They don't switch accounts easily. Banks know this loyalty reduces the chance customers will leave, even when fees appear. Another reason is compliance cost. Low balance accounts often cost banks more to maintain relative to the profit they generate. Instead of closing these accounts, banks shift that cost onto the customer through maintenance fees, paper statement charges, and balance penalties. And finally, there's visibility. High-income customers notice fees quickly and complain loudly. Low-income customers are more likely to assume fees are unavoidable or to blame themselves. That silence allows the fees to continue. This isn't personal, it's strategic. Banks aren't accusing anyone of doing something wrong. They're simply restructuring accounts in ways that extract money from those least able to lose it. Understanding why this is happening matters. because once you recognize the strategy, you can step out of it and stop banks from treating your benefit check like a revenue stream. The paper statement fee trap. Many seniors never see coming. One of the most overlooked bank fees hitting SSI and SSDI recipients right now is also one of the most unfair: the paper statement fee. For decades, receiving a monthly paper bank statement was standard. Seniors relied on it to track spending, catch errors, and feel secure about their money. But today, many banks have quietly turned that basic service into a monthly charge. In many cases, banks now charge $3 to $5 every month just to mail a paper statement. That may not sound like much, but over a year, it adds up to $36 to $60, taken directly from already limited benefit income. What makes this fee especially dangerous is how quietly it's applied. Banks often default customers into electronic statements and then charge those who don't switch. Notices are buried in fine print, emails many seniors never open, or inserts that look like advertisements. Many older Americans don't use online banking regularly. Some don't own a computer or smartphone. Others simply prefer paper records they can hold, review, and store. Banks are now penalizing that preference. For SSI and SSDI recipients, this fee is completely avoidable, but only if they know it exists. In some cases, calling the bank and requesting a paper statement waiver for seniors or benefit recipients can eliminate the charge. In others, switching to a different account or financial institution may be necessary. The key point is this: you should not be paying a monthly fee just to see your own money. Why free checking is quietly disappearing for benefit recipients. For years, free checking accounts were the standard, especially for seniors and people living on government benefits. But today, that safety net is quietly disappearing. Banks across the country are phasing out truly free checking, replacing it with accounts that only appear free at first glance. Hidden behind the name are conditions many SSI and SSDI recipients simply cannot meet. The most common requirement is a minimum monthly balance. Banks may waive fees only if customers keep hundreds or even thousands of dollars in their account. For someone living on benefits, that's unrealistic. Another condition is minimum deposit amounts. Some banks require a certain level of monthly deposits, often tied to wages or employer income. SSI and SSDI deposits frequently fall below these thresholds, automatically triggering fees. There's also a shift toward digital-only banking behavior. Free accounts are increasingly limited to customers who use online statements, mobile apps, and paperless communication. Seniors who prefer in-person service or paper records are quietly pushed into higher fee accounts. What makes this change so dangerous is how subtle it is. Banks rarely announce, "Free checking is gone." Instead, they rebrand accounts, update terms, and wait. Customers who don't actively respond are automatically moved into new structures, often without realizing it until fees appear. For benefit recipients, the disappearance of free checking isn't a minor inconvenience. It's a systemic change that turns basic access to money into a recurring cost. The good news is that free alternatives still exist, but only if you know where to look. Safer banking alternatives for SSI and SSDI recipients. As traditional banks add more fees and restrictions, many SSI and SSDI recipients are asking an important question: do I have other options? The answer is yes. One of the safest alternatives for people living on benefits is a credit union. Credit unions are member-owned, not profit-driven, and they tend to be far more flexible with low-balance accounts. Many offer free checking with no minimum balance, no monthly maintenance fees, and no paper statement charges, especially for seniors and disabled members. Another option is the Direct Expressor card, designed specifically for federal benefit recipients. SSI and SSDI payments can be deposited directly onto this card. There are no monthly fees, no minimum balance requirements, and no credit check. While it's not perfect for everyone, it eliminates many of the fees traditional banks rely on. Some online banks also offer fee-free checking, but caution is important. These accounts often require comfort with digital tools, mobile apps, and electronic statements. For tech-savvy beneficiaries, this can be a good fit. For others, it may create new challenges. The most important step is comparison. Ask clear questions. Is there a monthly maintenance fee? Is there a minimum balance requirement? Are paper statements free? Are Social Security deposits treated differently? You do not owe loyalty to a bank that drains your benefits. Your SSI or SSDI check is meant to support your basic needs, not to fund bank profits. Choosing the rig. How to check your current bank account for hidden fees. Many SSI and SSDI recipients don't realize they're being charged fees because they've never been shown where to look. Banks don't announce fees clearly. They hide them in places most people don't check. The first step is to review your last 3 bank statements carefully. Don't just look at the balance, scan every line item for words like maintenance, service fee, paper statement, or account fee. These charges are often small, but they repeat every month. Next, check your account type. Call your bank or visit a branch and ask one direct question. What type of checking account do I have, and what fees are attached to it? Many people discover their old free checking account was quietly converted into a new fee-based version without their clear consent. Then ask about fee waivers. Some banks still waive fees for seniors, disabled customers, or those receiving government benefits, but only if you request it. These waivers are rarely applied automatically. Also confirm minimum balance rules. Ask how long your balance must stay above the requirement and whether fees are charged if it drops, even briefly. Finally, ask about statement delivery fees. Switching to electronic statements or requesting a senior exemption can immediately eliminate monthly charges. This process may feel uncomfortable, but it's necessary. Banks profit when customers don't ask questions. You protect your income when you do. Your SSI or SSDI check is too important to lose to fees you never agreed to. Simple steps to stop or reverse these bank fees. Once you realize your SSI or SSDI check is being drained by bank fees, the next question is obvious. Can anything be done? In many cases, the answer is yes. The first step is to contact your bank directly. Ask one clear question. Is there a way to waive or remove the monthly fees on my account? Many banks still offer fee waivers for seniors, disabled customers, or government benefit recipients, but they don't advertise them. These waivers are often applied only if you ask. Next, request a different account type. Some banks have legacy or low-cost accounts that aren't offered publicly anymore. Switching within the same bank can stop fees without changing your direct deposit. Another effective step is to opt out of paper statement fees. If you're comfortable switching to electronic statements, or if your bank offers a senior exemption, this single change can save dozens of dollars each year. If fees continue despite these steps, don't hesitate to move your money. Credit unions, direct express, and fee-free alternatives exist for a reason. Changing where your benefits are deposited is often easier than people expect. Also, monitor your account monthly for the next few cycles. If a fee reappears after being removed, contact the bank immediately. Errors happen, but only get fixed when they're noticed. Stopping these fees isn't about confrontation, it's about protection. Your benefits are meant to support your life, not subsidize bank profits. Why switching banks is easier than most people expect. For many SSI and SSDI recipients, the idea of switching banks feels overwhelming. There's fear of paperwork, missed deposits, or something going wrong with Social Security payments. But the reality is very different. Today, switching banks is far simpler and safer than it used to be, especially when your income comes from federal benefits. Social Security deposits are highly reliable. Once you update your direct deposit information, payments follow the new account automatically. There's no credit check, no penalty, and no approval needed from your old bank. Most financial institutions, especially credit unions, actively help new customers through the process. Many will assist with updating your Social Security direct deposit, ensuring there's no interruption in payments. Another common concern is timing. The safest approach is to keep both accounts open temporarily. That way, you can confirm your benefit lands in the new account before closing the old one. This overlap removes nearly all risk. People are often surprised by how quickly fees disappear once they switch. No more monthly maintenance charges, no minimum balance stress, no paper statement penalties. Staying with a bank that quietly drains your benefits is not loyalty, it's habit. And habits can be changed. For people living on fixed income, even small improvements matter. Eliminating recurring fees can mean more food, more stability, and fewer financial surprises. Switching banks isn't about starting over. It's about stopping the loss. And for many SSI and SSDI recipients, that one decision can make every month a little easier. Common banking mistakes SSI and SSDI recipients should avoid. When it comes to banking, many SSI and SSDI recipients lose money not because they make bad choices, but because they don't realize small mistakes are costing them every month. One of the most common mistakes is assuming bank fees are unavoidable. Many people believe fees are just how banking works now. In reality, many fees can be waived, reduced, or eliminated, but only if you question them. Another frequent error is not reading bank notices. Banks often announce fee changes through small print emails or mailers that look like advertisements. Ignoring these notices can mean waking up months later to unexplained charges. Some recipients also make the mistake of keeping too many accounts open. Small balances spread across multiple accounts increase the risk of falling below minimum requirements, triggering fees on accounts you barely use. Failing to monitor statements is another costly habit. When balances are tight, even a $5 or $10 fee matters. Catching a fee early gives you a chance to stop it before it repeats. Finally, many people stay with a bank out of fear. Fear of change, fear of missing a deposit, fear of paperwork. That fear keeps them stuck paying fees they can't afford. The truth is this: banks benefit when customers stay silent. Avoiding these mistakes doesn't require financial expertise. It requires awareness, attention, and a willingness to protect income that's already stretched thin. For SSI and SSDI recipients, banking mistakes aren't minor. They directly affect daily survival. Final takeaways: protecting your SSI and SSDI income from bank fees. At the end of the day, the biggest threat to SSI and SSDI recipients isn't a sudden cut in benefits. It's something quieter. Money being taken little by little, month after month, through bank fees most people never agreed to. A $10 fee doesn't feel dangerous. Neither does 15. Even $35 can seem manageable until it repeats every single month. Over a year, those fees quietly steal hundreds of dollars from people who are already living on the edge. Money meant for food, medication, rent, and basic dignity ends up padding bank profits instead. And the hardest truth is this: banks are counting on silence. They count on customers not reading statements closely. They count on fear of switching accounts. They count on people believing they have no other choice. But SSI and SSDI recipients do have choices. Free or low-fee alternatives exist. Credit unions exist. Direct Express exists. Fee waivers exist. And the ability to say no to unfair banking practices still exists. Protecting your benefits doesn't require financial expertise. It requires awareness, a few questions, and the willingness to act. Your SSI or SSDI check is not spare change. It's survival income. Every dollar matters, and every dollar you stop a bank from taking is a dollar you keep for yourself. In a system that already asks too much of those with the least, defending your income is not optional. It's necessary.